Hey everyone, it's Ben, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to find high-paying committed students using our ideal student attraction. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. Again, if you haven't had the roadmap yet, we're already in like the first few videos, so make sure you have the roadmap and that you are following along inside of it. So let's go ahead and get started. First question we want to answer here is how do we raise our prices? So the solution here is to offer premium priced programs. I hear a lot of teachers like, if I want more students, I gotta lower my prices, right? So I can get more students. No, we gotta do the opposite. If we want to attract more higher paying committed students, we gotta raise our prices first. That's the first solution. So what is like a premium price program anyway? So a program, it's a program that provides a specific results that your students can achieve within a certain time period. It's also a program that you can charge 2 or 3K plus per student as well. And also we're able to charge a high price point so that we require less students to be able to reach our income goals. So also high price is important too, because a high price point equals and it correlates to high student success rates. Because at the end of the day, students are paying for speed and ease, not information. So the price is going to be based on the transformation that you're able to provide for the student. And that is a concept that I want to be able to drive home here. And a lot of teachers are like, how can I raise my prices? Like, do I have to offer more lessons or things like that? What we want to do is we need to change our mindset around the price. So we want to take our what we know about the price point, and we want to associate the price based on the transformation. Put the price on the results, not what you can provide. So when you're able to do that, you're able to have one lesson a month, 2 lessons a month, 4 lessons a month. It doesn't matter what your price is going to be as long as your students achieve the results. And that is how our teachers are able to charge so much, because they're able to put the price, and they attach the price point to the value of what students are getting out of their music lessons rather than the music lessons itself. So here's a quick math example on like how the logic makes sense. So pretend you offer a program, a 2K program for like 6 months, right? A student joins your music lessons. They sign up with you. They're committed for 6 months, and that is 2K for that program. And if you're able to collect all that, right, 2K for 5 students, 10K right there. And then also 5 students can probably range from 5 hours a month all the way to maybe 20 hours a month right there. But the time frame, see how the time frame, like the amount of time that you're working is so much less than if you had to get like 40, 50, 60 students in order to reach that goal. So a big part of that is like raising your prices, but also the strategic pricing that we will also want to implement too. Because imagine if you're able to collect 2K up front, not only do not only are you able to get your get to your income goals a lot faster, but also because they're investing so much into your music lessons, they'll also have a high success rate as well. And you probably experienced it like over your years of teaching, but you've probably seen that the student that actually pays the higher price point takes their lessons more seriously. And maybe same thing for you as well. Pay like if you pay $1,000 for a new car, you're gonna take care of that, right? Because you've invested so much. And also, you've seen we don't need as many students in order to reach that income goal because our price point is so high as well, and that is super important. We'll talk about that right here on how do you sell a premium price program, but I want to make sure that hits home first that we need to charge a higher price in order to get to the income goals that we want and also get the students that we want as well. So, how do we sell a premium price program? You need 2 things. You need a clear and irresistible offer and message. So people ask me like, what is an offer? What is an offer in the first place? Well, an offer is just something you exchange dollars for value. That's it. So pretty much someone pays you as a teacher and you give them value, right? You give them speed and ease. You give them the transformation that they're looking for. Because at the end of the day, we want to be transformation oriented. Because if we're not, right, what's the point in taking music lessons? right? What's the point in paying someone to meet with them every single week for an hour each week and you don't get the results? That's just wasting money there. So if we're able to be goal oriented, results oriented, transformation oriented, that's going to help the student understand what they're actually paying for, which is the result, not just the music lessons. So right here, the first thing is, in order to have a clear and irresistible offer and message meaning the way we communicate that offer to our audience, we must serve a specific problem, we must serve a specific person and solve a specific problem. That gets to also a specific goal. We'll talk about that in a little bit too, but these are the first two things that we need: specific person and solve a specific problem. So what that involves is being able to specialize in what the market needs. So there's a little example here that I'll talk about. It's the example of like a generalist versus a surgeon. So you can probably look up whatever in your area, whatever a general doctor makes, but a general doctor makes significantly less money than a surgeon. And why is that? It's because a surgeon is able to specialize in what the market needs. There is less supply in surgeons than demand in terms of surgeries. That's why people pay them so much money, is because it's such a high skilled job to be able to have. And for you as a music teacher, especially if you're a really great teacher, you have a lot of experience, and you're really confident in your teaching, you need to flex that, right? Be the surgeon in the marketplace, like show what you're worth. But when you're able to specialize in, hey, I work with a specific type of musician, and then also I solve a specific problem that they're facing. If they match up with if the person you're talking to matches up with that specific avatar or that specific niche and has a specific problem, they're going to see you as someone who is a specialist in that, right? It makes sense. But people like that are more willing to pay more to solve that problem, because they know, hey, this is what Ben does. Hey, he's the guy to do this. He's or she's the gal to do that. That's ultimately, though, going to increase your perceived value, right? And that's important to understand, the perceived value, how they see you as valuable. There's a video that I saw on YouTube where these guys were like testing out $1,000 violin versus like a really expensive violin, like a $10 million violin. And if you think about that too, like think about how much, like what $1,000 violin would look like and maybe a $10,000 violin would look like, and you imagine what they would sound like. Which one do you think would sound better? Like, obviously the second one, right? The latter, because of the price point. You already expect it to sound better because you're like, I mean, if I'm paying $10 million, it better sound good, right? And that's a very extreme case of what we want to do for ourselves as well. Because part of the strategy of getting the high paying students to actually pay you is increasing your perceived value. Because if they go to a teacher that is only $100 a month versus you, who's maybe $300 to $500 a month, like they're automatically going to see you in a higher position. They're automatically going to be like, whoa, like that person, like why is he or she $500 a month? They've obviously got something better to offer. And that's what's going to turn heads. That's what's going to attract people to you. But also that's going to help you be able to get the students that you actually want to have. So the two things that we've learned so far that are really important is, one, we need to have a high price point, and that price point needs to be based on the transformation that you provide. And then two is that we need to specialize in a specific person and a problem, right? And a quick example of this is like thinking about the hobbyist musician versus like someone who's trying to make it their career, right? Someone with a hobbyist, like, or someone who's just learning music as a hobby, doesn't really have a specific, or more importantly, an urgent problem that they need to solve. So I'll probably add that in here to a specific and urgent problem, because the urgency is extremely important, right? Someone who's trying to make music their career, or someone who's trying to get into their dream music school or pass, their audition, that person has a much bigger sense of urgency in that problem than someone who's just a hobbyist, right? And someone who has that urgent problem is going to be more willing to invest in solving that problem because it means a lot more to them. And that's who we want to be able to find. So the more urgent the problem you solve, the higher the price point can be. And that's important to understand here. So thinking about that though, I want to show you exactly what it looks like being able to implement this. So in this video, or when you have the roadmap, you can click this link here to watch Simber's interview and Simber's story. So just a little bit about Simber. Simber went from inconsistent growth with one-on-one lessons. And I was able to help her create a 6-figure harp studio with online group lessons as well. So before she started working with me, she used to teach like harp, ukulele, voice, all of these students, but she really wanted to just focus on harpists because that's her thing, right? Look, she's got a harp in the background. There's always a harp in her background. You look at her, she's that harp lady right there. But she wanted to focus on helping harpists become better improvisers. She saw that in the market that there was nobody teaching that. And that was her thing. Like she's been teaching that. She never really just promoted that at all. So when she started niching down and finding, hey, a specific person, the harpist who wants to solve a specific problem, which is being able to improvise, she was able to earn over $1,200 per student in her harp program. And that's just the beginning of it, right? For her harp program, every student she got, she was able to earn $1,200 from that student. So if you want to hear more about what Simber went through, how she did it, and what it could look like for you, make sure to click here. This will lead back to our Facebook group where you can actually see the video along with it as well, the entire interview. So I want to show you exactly what that looks like. But also I want to give you some homework and show you exactly how to be able to implement this here. So this is the step that you've been waiting for. Make sure you have your roadmap ready. This is an ideal student attraction matrix. This will help you be very, very clear on who exactly is your ideal student, what exactly is the problem that I solve as well. So these questions will help prompt you in being able to be able to answer that for you. And this will really drive your content. If you're wondering, what is this going to help me do? This is going to help you create the right type of content to put out in front of the right audience so that when they read it, they're like, wow, how do you know what's going on in my music life? How do you know that? Well, it's because you've done the research, you've done the market research already. So some notes on how to go through this here. This is what I tell. This is exactly the same worksheet I give to my clients, by the way. So I'm not skimping you out or anything. It's exactly what you need. But also I get a lot of people asking me how do I know if this is the right answer or not? How do I know what I need to put on this worksheet? And the answer is that you don't, right? Everything that you're going to put on this ideal student attraction matrix, it's all a guess. So don't get hung up as you're doing this worksheet. Don't get hung up on is this the right answer? All you're doing is making an educated guess. And as you start to create content, you'll start to understand, these are the things that people respond to. As you start to get into more calls with potential students, you're going to be able to hear those problems from them, and you can start to validate, they said they were going through this problem. I need to write more content around that. And that's how you're going to attract and make sure you use this matrix the right way. So again, I want you to be aware that as you're going through this, you're going to wonder, am I going through this right? Are these the right answers? And you should have those hesitations because we don't know yet, right? All we're just doing is a guess. It's literally just a worksheet. It's just a worksheet. We don't know exactly if it's the right answer yet. And I'm not going to grade this worksheet. Who's going to grade this worksheet? Your market is. Right? Your market is going to tell you what is the right answer or not. All we're just doing is making guesses. But the worksheet will help clarify where you need to turn your attention towards as well. So going through this, the person who is your ideal client, go through these questions right here. That'll help you figure that out. But even for the problems here, you want to be thinking, hey, what are the top 5 complaints or frustrations your clients are experiencing? And think about what are the thoughts that trigger them to say, I have a problem now. And I want you to use emotional words here. And this part's really important too. You want to add context to when these frustrations happen, because I always say nobody just wakes up and is like, I need help with my music. Like if I'm a songwriter, I'm not just gonna wake up and be like, I suck at songwriting, right? There's gonna be certain snapshots in people's lives that cause them to say, hey, I have a problem. So you want to think about those snapshots and write them down in here. A really quick, easy tip is I like to use quotes. Like quotes as in, hey, I'm spending hours in the practice room and I'm getting like no progress done. Or I keep getting rejections from my auditions. It's making me feel really frustrated. Like those are quotes that are happening in your students' heads. Think about that. What is the conversation that's already happening in your student's mind? You want to write those down here. And then the promise here, it leads down to these questions. You want to take something that your clients want to achieve musically. Like, hey, I want to be able to improve my music theory. I want to improve my technique. Maybe it's my performance practice, something like that. And we're going to move it down to something that is impactful for their life outside of music, which is extremely important, right? Because as we know as a teacher, it's not just about, music. It's about what music can do for you. And you want to write those things out. And then lastly, after you've drawn out those things, take your answers, plot them in the matrix below. This is where you'll have your content ideas. This is where your content ideas will revolve around. So you'll talk about the same goals and problems that your students experience or want to achieve in your content. So after you finish this, all you want to do, just take whatever you wrote here, put it in this matrix. I find it's a lot easier to look at it visually in a spreadsheet like this. So make sure to do that. And yeah, last thing here is if you want me to review this worksheet for you, what you can do, again, make sure you are part of our Facebook group. You can post a link to your copy inside of the Facebook group and I can review it for you. Or you can also DM me personally and I can help review that, give you some feedback as well so that I can make sure that you're on the right track with this. Other than that, make sure to do this action item now. And then after this, after doing the action item, check out the next video because we will be talking about the student acquisition system and how to get those students consistently. I'll see you in the next one.